habit that I've seen him have is he does not step up in the pocket.
No reports came out in the midst of the Baltimore Ravens Cleveland Browns game on Sunday that Adam Schefter reported that Shedeur Sanders declined the option to be drafted by the Baltimore Ravens in the 5th round at the 141st pick. And a lot of people had a lot to say, and Cam Newton was on ESPN First Take, and he stated his position on what he thought about Shedeur Sanders declining that option.
An organization that is not good at developing quarterbacks. Ownership hasn't been good. Team hasn't been good. You get bad habits. And I think being in a good organization and understanding top to bottom would have been more important. But I think he'll get a chance. I just don't know if you get a chance for a bad team, then people say, yep, see, told you he couldn't play.
Yeah, right. Well, see, with that, hearing that he did not want to go to the Baltimore Ravens was a definite head scratcher. But when you have certain other details about that situation come out, when he does have the utmost respect.
NFL owners are sweating bullets like coaches in triple overtime. And it's all because Cam Newton just dropped a bomb about Shedeur Sanders that has the whole league shaking. Picture billionaires in designer suits suddenly panicking like their dynasty just got blitzed out of nowhere. At the goal line of chaos, one rookie quarterback has completely flipped their shiny little NFL fairy tale upside down. And it's wild. Smash that subscribe button if you're vibing with this. It really helps more than you think. The NFL draft's always been a show for the rich. Cigars, luxury lounges, and billionaires treating college stars like chess pieces in their personal Monopoly game. But this year, something snapped. Right between the champagne toasts and those fake "we're building for the future" speeches. Cam Newton came through with the nastiest Uno reverse card anyone's ever seen. And the whole league felt it. Newton let it slip that Shedeur Sanders, yeah, the same Shaduer who's been lighting up defenses for over 10,000 yards like he's playing a backyard scrimmage, straight up rejected 3 NFL teams on draft night. Not 1, not 2, but 3. Talk about power moves. If Confidence had an Instagram, that man's post would be a selfie captioned "mood." That's when the owners completely lost it. These guys are used to running the show, calling the shots, controlling every narrative. Normally, a rookie sits there teary-eyed, hugging grandma, thanking God, and smiling for cameras after being picked up by...
Put your head down and grind. The game is not just about completing the pass. The game is more focused on the neck up. Hey, what's my side adjust? Hey, who am I? Hotter reps to be had, hopefully, throughout this preseason.
Let's be real, the Jacksonville Jaguars. But this time, the script's been ripped to shreds. That's the tradition. Rookies supposed to smile, nod, and thank the system. But Shedeur Sanders, he tore that script to pieces right in their faces, and the league's puppet masters didn't know whether to clap or collapse. Even if it meant spending the next few years getting sacked every Sunday and fading into the background, Shedeur wasn't about to play the grateful rookie begging for crumbs. No way. He sat there cool as ice, like he was speed dating billion-dollar franchises, swiping left on NFL teams the same way you'd swipe away a desperate Tinder profile. That kind of energy makes owners squirm in their tailored suits. And Cam Newton, he wasn't about to let that moment fade into rumor mill chatter. Not a chance. Cam came through with that trademark confidence. The kind of presence where you can't tell if he's dropping a life lesson or giving fashion advice fresh off the runway. He laid it all out clear as day. Shedeur Sanders had real options, and instead of letting his future get passed around like a cold stadium hot dog, he took control of his own destiny.
And I think if I'm Shedeur, you would ideally want to learn behind a guy like Lamar Jackson for this particular reason and this particular reason only. Not a lot of players can really cope with your star power, with your stardom, right? And let's really give credit where credit's due. At 28 years old, being a phenomenal athlete, the thing that I respect a guy like Lamar Jackson the most, we've never heard him have any off the field.
The NFL media went into meltdown mode. They twisted it, spun it, threw out every label in the book. Entitled, spoiled, disrespectful, But here's the plot twist. The truth was way juicier. Shaduer wasn't reckless. He was calculated, smart, strategic, and dangerous in a way the league had never seen before. Run it back. This man was projected as a top 10 pick. But those numbers, they didn't add up unless some teams were cooking the stats, trying to hide their fear of a rookie who actually had self-awareness. And when those three teams came knocking, oh, believe me, they weren't just random bottom feeders. First up, the Baltimore Ravens. Imagine being drafted just to sit next to Lamar Jackson, knowing you'll spend the next decade watching him from the sidelines like a background extra. Who in their right mind signs up for that? It sounds nice on paper. Big team, bright lights, but Shaduer knew better. He had a higher chance of hitting the Powerball than ever stepping on that field. When Baltimore came calling, Shaduer looked at the offer and basically said, "Nah, I'm not about to be Lamar's stunt double." That's bold, but it made perfect sense.
Round pick, you may make the team, you may not make the team. You may make practice squad, you may not make practice squad. But this is the kicker though, Peggy. You still got to be a professional because there's 31 other teams that are also looking too. How you go about your meetings on a day-to-day, how you perform, the antics, all the things that they don't really talk about, but they see. People are paying close attention to Shedeur Sanders. You want to say, oh, they just humbling him. Like, no, bro, he's no different than any other fifth-round pick in the NFL. It's a grind. Everybody who gets selected, even first-round picks, have a threshold of.
Why waste prime years holding a clipboard when you've got superstar energy ready to shine right now? Then came the Philadelphia Eagles, another powerhouse squad. Jalen Hurts had just secured the bag and locked down that starting spot tighter than Fort Knox. Shaduer saw the script instantly. Draft him, bench him, and let him collect dust until fans forgot he even existed. Philly probably thought they were blessing him with that midnight green jersey, but Shaduer wasn't fooled. Respect doesn't mean sitting quietly as a bench decoration. That's when the internet went crazy. Everyone was debating. Was Shaduer being cocky, or was he just too smart for the game? The old heads came out wagging fingers, shouting about paying dues and earning stripes. But then Cam Newton jumped in and flipped the whole story. Cam said Shadeur's move wasn't arrogance. It was respect. Respect for Lamar. Respect for Jalen. He wasn't out here wishing for someone to get hurt just to get a shot. He was simply refusing to play second fiddle when he knew he was born to lead. He wanted to earn it. And deep down, he knew exactly where that would never happen. The fan base exploded like a live wire. Half of them were hyped, praising Shaduer for moving smart, calling him a picky foodie, rejecting greasy drive-through meals. The other half, furious, screaming that he'd just thrown away his career before it even started. It was chaos, pure and loud. Meanwhile, high up in those marble offices, the NFL's billion-dollar puppet masters were fuming. Since when do the peasants get to choose their castles? They whispered behind closed doors. Because let's be honest, this wasn't just about one rookie quarterback. This was about power. And billionaires hate it when power starts to shift, especially if it's not tied to their stock portfolios.
Now, I would love to understand your thought process of just how they're managing Shaduer. Is it a realistic situation for him to play this year, or what should we expect from your office?
Well, from what I'm told, Dylan Gabriel has been better, has played better, and is more ready, whatever that means. But this is what I was told. I think if you can sit and watch Flacco and understand.
Then add in the Deion Sanders factor, because Shaduer wasn't raised by just any dad. He grew up under prime time himself. While the league treated draft night like their personal talent show, Shaduer flipped the whole thing into a high-stakes business meeting where he held the cards. Every move, every silence, calculated. That's when Cleveland came into the mix, not as the safe pick, but as the bold gamble that actually made sense. Sure, Cleveland's known for heartbreak, bad luck, and chaos. But guess what? That's exactly what made it perfect. It was the only place where Shaduer didn't have to play backup singer to a superstar. No Lamar, no Jalen, no living in someone else's shadow. In Cleveland, the competition wasn't legends. It was dudes fans barely remembered by week 3. For Shaduer, that was the window. A real shot at quarterback one, his own spotlight, his own story. And that's the real headline. This moment isn't just about one draft pick. It's about a shift in power bigger than Cam Newton's podcast, bigger than any soundbite. It's the start of a revolution. This right here is the beginning of a new era. Players aren't just sitting there smiling for the cameras anymore. They're flipping the whole table and calling the shots themselves. They're rejecting billion-dollar deals like bad Tinder dates and betting on themselves so hard it's making owners sweat through their designer suits. And just like that, Shedeur Sanders became the face of rebellion in the NFL. A walking headline that said, "I play on my terms." Now, here's the million-dollar question.
More evidence and more facts have come out that it wasn't just the Baltimore Ravens that was on the clock to pick Shedeur Sanders. I said this to you guys in a previous video. Why come we haven't heard about the teams that didn't want to select Shedeur Sanders? Now, all of a sudden, 4 or 5 months later, we're bringing up stuff that don't even make no sense, has nothing to do with nothing. Everything surrounding around Shedeur Sanders.
Is he about to go down as the visionary who rewrote draft day history? Or will people call him the cautionary tale? The one parents bring up when teaching their kids about humility? The clock's ticking and the Browns are sitting on a minefield waiting to blow. Cam Newton swears Shaduer's ready for the chaos. But the fan base, they're split clean down the middle. Because if Shedeur Sanders can look 3 NFL franchises cold in the eye and say, "Thanks, but no thanks," what's stopping the next wave of rookies from doing the same thing? Just imagine the madness if quarterbacks started acting like free agents before they even signed their rookie contracts. It'd be pure bedlam. That's every billionaire owner's nightmare because suddenly they're not the ones holding the leash anymore. And Cam Newton, oh, he was loving every second of it. He didn't just break the story, he lit it up. He dropped the bomb, poured gasoline all over the mess, and roasted marshmallows on the flames. He laughed at the idea of Shaduer being called arrogant. Because to Cam, this wasn't arrogance, it was strategy. Pure chess, not checkers. And the look on the NFL's collective face said it all. They weren't ready for a rookie quarterback built with GPS locked on survival, not blind loyalty. Now buckle up, because when we dive into that Ravens situation, oh man, it's straight up comedy gold. The front office probably thought they were handing Shaduer the golden ticket.
Tells me that it wasn't just the Baltimore Ravens. It was 3 teams. The Cleveland Browns, the Philadelphia Eagles, and it also was Baltimore Ravens. Now this is where the perspective gets skewed. Because why would Shaduer not want to go to Baltimore? If any team has been on the cutting edge of saying we figured out the recipe of drafting and developing good players to play great and elite, that's one of the teams that does it at a high level. Why not?
But what they really did was hand him the mic to flip the whole game. Come sit behind Lamar Jackson, they said. Soak up greatness, learn from the best, and maybe, just maybe, if Lamar catches the flu 10 years from now, you'll get a pity start. Please. Shaduer saw through that in a heartbeat. He wasn't about to waste a decade waiting for leftovers while someone else ate the full-course meal. Shaduer knew the game. He wasn't blind to the politics. He read that script clearer than a headline. Play backup, smile for cameras, fade into silence. Nah, he wasn't signing up to be a background extra in the Lamar Jackson show. He wanted to write his own screenplay, star in his own movie, not play the understudy forever. Then came Philly, walking around like they're running quarterback paradise. But here's the truth. They'd locked Jalen Hurts down with so much guaranteed money he could buy an island and name it Hurts Nation. No rookie on earth was breaking through that fortress. The Eagles probably thought Shaduer would beam with pride holding a clipboard like it was a championship trophy. But nope, he treated that offer like spam in the junk folder. Delete. He didn't need a crash course in invisibility. Respecting Jalen didn't mean sacrificing his entire career. Now Cleveland. Oh, this is where the story turns spicy. The Browns, bless their chaotic souls, are the franchise that treats quarterbacks like disposable coffee cups. Every season there's a new one, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, just to keep the fans guessing. It's a circus, a revolving door that never stops spinning. But in Cleveland, that chaos means opportunity. Because for Shedeur Sanders, being a quarterback there isn't about fame. It's about survival. You either flame out, break down, or somehow stumble into local legend status just for surviving the madness in Cleveland. It's quarterback Thunderdome in orange and brown. Only the toughest make it out alive. And here's the twist. Shaduer didn't see that as a red flag. He saw it as a neon green opportunity. Why waste years hiding behind Lamar or Jalen when you can roll the dice in Cleveland, where the bar for good quarterback is buried somewhere under the 50-yard line? But the NFL's old guard hated that kind of mindset. And speaking of traditionalists, let's pull Alex Smith right into the chaos. He wasted no time jumping on the mic, saying Shaduer blew it, that he should have just taken whatever team threw him a bone. Easy for him to say. This is the same guy who spent half his career being treated like a rental car while his teams window shop for newer models. Of course, he'd want the new generation to follow that same miserable, outdated script. Misery loves company. But Shedeur, he didn't come to the NFL to smile, nod, and be the company man. He came to flip tables, tear up scripts, and write his own damn playbook. He wasn't chasing approval. He was building leverage.
Look, Shaduer is not an athletic quarterback where he's going to play a different game. Obviously, he's more athletic than Flacco, but I said when they drafted him, I thought that he'd start a game this year. And hopefully he does, just to get that opportunity. I think what surprised me is when he manipulated the draft and told the Ravens not to draft him. That, to me, you're going to be in a first-class organization. You're going to learn from a lot of different people there.
Meanwhile, the fans turned social media into a full-blown battle zone. One side was shouting that Shaduer was a visionary, rewriting the rules before even taking his first NFL snap. The other side clapped back, saying he was just writing checks his rookie arm couldn't cash. It was chaos. Hashtags, memes, and hot takes flying from every direction. And right there in the middle of the madness, NFL owners sweating bullets. For the first time ever, they realize the players they draft aren't cattle on an auction block. They're businessmen, thinkers, and power players in their own right. And that's what really burned the owners. Because if rookies start demanding respect and control over their own futures, what's next? Power. That's what this is all about. Power that no longer belongs to the owners. And you better believe those billionaires can't stand it. It wrecks their system, flips their order, and sends shockwaves through every luxury suite in the league. And looming over all of it, none other than Deion Primetime Sanders himself, the mastermind behind the mindset. He's been in Shedeur's ear since Pee Wee football, drilling one message over and over: never settle, never bow, and never let anyone else hold the pen to your destiny. Yeah, the Browns might be dysfunctional, but that's exactly why this is perfect. Because in the NFL, dysfunction breeds opportunity. Shaduer isn't walking into Cleveland to hold a clipboard and politely clap for the starter. No way. He's stepping into a quarterback carousel so wild that one hot drive could shoot him straight into the starter conversation. Compare that to Baltimore, where he could throw perfect passes for 5 years and still never touch the field. Or Philly, where his name would have collected dust at the bottom of the roster like forgotten paperwork. But Cleveland, it's messy, it's unpredictable, it's a storm, and in that storm lies opportunity. Shaduer's walking into that chaos armed with stubbornness, swagger, and a gambler's mindset, ready to bet big on himself. This isn't just another NFL storyline. This is the new wave. Rookies calling their own shots, rewriting how the game works. Sure, most rookies will still cry on stage, thank their moms, and hug their high school coach when the Texans draft them. But that old script, it's cracking because the precedent's been set. If you've got the stats, the swagger, and the guts, you can play chess with billionaires instead of being their pawn. And that's what terrifies the old guard. Because once one rookie proves it can be done, once one player shatters the illusion of control, the dam breaks wide open, and there's no going back. And when that flood hits, the whole league better brace itself. Because here's the twist nobody saw coming. This isn't just Shedeur Sanders making noise. This is a cultural shift ripping through the NFL like a blitz nobody called. Owners, coaches, analysts, they can shout arrogance all they want, but deep down, they know the truth.
Stand-up guy, and if all of our opinions has always led to his on-field performance. Not a lot of people can relate to what Shedeur Sanders has been through in his whole life. And that right there serves even more to make him a better player because it's the totality of the position. And I think Lamar Jackson would have been able to relate to him in many ways.
Such a good point.
But how many people are coming out of college?
The leash just snapped. For decades, rookies were trained to smile for cameras, shake hands, and pray someone gave them a shot. But Shaduer said, nah, I'll write my own destiny. And with that, he cracked the mold wide open. Think about it. Every college star watching this unfold is taking notes. Every kid throwing spirals in their backyard now knows there's another path. A louder, bolder way to play the draft game. And that's what's terrifying the old guard, because when the cattle stop walking in a straight line, the whole farm turns to chaos. The power balance is shifting, and billionaires can't control the flow anymore. Cam Newton lit the fuse, Shedeur Sanders doubled down, and now the spotlight is scorching hot. Cleveland's rolling the dice. The fans are split like rival gangs on Twitter, and the NFL machine is glitching, desperately trying to spin the story before the floodgates burst wide open. And here's the wildest part. Shaduer hasn't even thrown a single NFL touchdown yet, and he's already rewriting the rule book. That's what's got the owners sweating through their suits. Talent? They can handle that. Swagger? They've seen it before. But leverage? That's their nightmare. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just changing how rookies enter the league, he's changing how power moves inside it. And the NFL's not ready for that kind of storm, but it's already here. Leverage flips the whole empire upside down. And Shedeur Sanders just proved he's holding the cards before the game even starts. Picture this: Shaduer walking into Cleveland's training camp. Every camera zoomed in, every teammate wondering, is this the kid who finally breaks the curse? He doesn't need to be perfect. He just needs to be bold enough to survive the chaos. One laser pass, one clutch drive, and suddenly the headlines flip from arrogant rookie to the savior Cleveland never saw coming.
Shaduer, by the way, was pretty spot on in terms of, like, who cares that he said it. And if you have doubts about how good he would be, I threw this out there yesterday. Like, if I look around this league right now, and I look at some of the quarterback play that's been going on around this league, like, do I think that he couldn't put up at least like Spencer Rattler numbers to this point, or JJ McCarthy numbers because he's been bad, or Russell Wilson?
Now imagine being one of those 3 teams he rejected. Baltimore, Philly, front offices pacing the halls, praying Shaduer flames out just so they can say, "See, we told you so." But if he shines, oh, that's their worst nightmare. Playing out on national TV every single Sunday, every completion, every win, every touchdown a reminder that they fumbled the future. This isn't just a draft story anymore, it's a revolution building right under the NFL's nose. Shedeur Sanders didn't just join the league, he shook it, he lit the fuse, and now everyone's waiting to see just how massive the explosion's gonna be. The only question left is, how will this story age? Will Shedeur Sanders go down as the quarterback who refused to play sidekick and force the NFL to change its entire playbook? Or will he end up as the cautionary tale? The kid who flew too close to the lights, thinking he was too big for his own cleats? Either way, one thing's for sure. This man looked billion-dollar franchises cold in the eye and rejected them like items off a dollar menu. He made NFL owners sweat in places they didn't even know they could sweat. That's not just bold, that's revolutionary. And revolutionary figures, whether they rise to glory or crash and burn, they always leave the game forever changed. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, share this with your crew, and make sure you're subscribed, because this story is far from over. See you on the next one.